I was in the third row. That's where they put people like me. Not the front where the lawyers whisper. Not the gallery where the reporters perch with their little notebooks. Third row. Far enough that nobody has to look at you. Close enough that you still hear every word. My hands were on my knees. My wife's hand was on mine. She hadn't let go since we walked through those metal doors. The defendant sat at the table like she was waiting for a latte. Blonde hair, a suit that cost more than my first car. She kept checking her phone until the bailiff made her put it away. Then she just smiled. That smile. The one you see on magazine covers. The one that says I have never been told no. Her father sat 2 rows behind me. I could hear him breathing. Heavy. Like a man who expects the world to bend. The judge came in. Gray hair. Gold glasses. The kind of face you see in country club photographs. He looked at her. He looked at her lawyer. Then he looked at the papers in front of him. I knew those papers. I had carried them in my coat for 8 months. The accident report. The hospital bill with the number so big I thought it was a misprint. The photograph of my grandson's bed with the tubes coming out of him. He was 17. He was crossing the street to buy his mother flowers because it was her birthday. That was the testimony. That was in the report. She was driving her father's car. 93 in a 45. Blood alcohol twice the legal limit. The police said she was laughing when they pulled her out. Laughing. In court, she didn't laugh at first. She folded her hands. She looked down. Her lawyer gave a speech about youthful indiscretion and pressures of privilege. The judge nodded. He nodded like he understood. That's when my wife squeezed my hand so hard the bones shifted. Then it was time for her to speak. The defendant stood up. She had a piece of paper. She unfolded it slowly. She said she was sorry. She said she thought about it every day. She said she prayed for my grandson. Her voice was soft, rehearsed, like she had practiced it in front of a mirror. And then she looked up. She looked directly at me, and she sneered. It wasn't a big thing. A tiny curl of the lip, a flick of the eyebrow, the kind of look you give a stain on the sidewalk. But I saw it. My wife saw it. The bailiff saw it. And the judge saw it. The judge's glasses caught the light. He didn't say anything. He just wrote something down. Her lawyer kept talking. He asked for probation. He said she was a good person who made a mistake. He said her father had already paid for a comprehensive rehabilitation program. He said the community would benefit from her future contributions. I wanted to scream. I wanted to stand up and point at the photograph in my coat. But I didn't. I just sat there. Third row. Old man. Invisible. Then the judge looked at me. First time in 3 days. He said, "Sir, do you have something you want to say?" I didn't have a speech. I didn't have a lawyer. I had my grandson's letter. He wrote it in the hospital before he lost the use of his right hand. The penmanship was shaky. The words were simple. He said he wasn't angry. He said he hoped she would get help. He said he forgave her. He was 17. And he forgave her. I read it out loud. My voice cracked on every word. I didn't look at her. I didn't look at her father. I just read what my grandson wrote. When I finished, the courtroom was so quiet I could hear the clock on the wall. The defendant's lawyer stood up again. He said, "Your Honor, we believe that." The judge held up his hand. One finger. The lawyer stopped. The judge took off his glasses. He set them down. He looked at the defendant. He said, "I saw what you did. I saw your face when that man read his grandson's words. You didn't hear forgiveness. You heard weakness. You smiled." She opened her mouth. He cut her off. "I've been on this bench for 23 years. I've seen people lie. I've seen people cry. I've seen people beg. But I have never seen anyone show contempt for a child's forgiveness." He picked up the sentencing sheet. He wrote something. He didn't look at her lawyer. He didn't look at her father. He looked at me. 93 in a 45. Twice the legal limit. A child in a coma. And no remorse. Not 1 ounce. He closed the file. He said the number. 8 years. Maximum.
No probation.
No early release. No comprehensive rehabilitation program. She collapsed into her chair. Her father stood up. The bailiff put a hand on his chest. The judge didn't even glance at them. He looked at me again. He said, "You can go home now. Tell your grandson the court heard him." My wife helped me up. I walked down the aisle, past the reporters, past the father with his red face, past the defendant who was crying now, real tears finally. And as I passed her, she looked up, and for the first time she didn't sneer. She asked me if I could forgive her. I didn't answer. I just kept walking, because my grandson already had. And that was the only forgiveness that ever mattered.